You gave workers a voice. All the way back from my great-grandfather Blewett, who was a mining engineer. Back to the days of the Molly Maguires and all the way and folks were treated in Northeast Pennsylvania, the coal mines. You gave people a voice. Molly Maguires, they were a little tougher. You gave them a hard time, you ended up on the doorstep in a bag. But, think about it. What are the basic things? My dad used to say, we just ought to give people ability to just be able to take a deep breath, have a little bit of breathing room. And what are those things? Well, healthcare, a pension, God willing, higher wages in a safer workplace, and protections against discrimination and harassment. That's not asking too much. We've fundamentally transformed how we live and how we work in this country. The reason we have is because of the victories won by labor. I'm going to be a bit repetitive. The 8-hour day, the weekend, time and a half for overtime, safety standards, sick days, victories for all of us. Because I might add, I notice when you all do that, everybody benefits. Whether they belong to a union or not. Whether they belong to a union or not. When unions win, workers across the board win. That's a fact. Families win, community wins, America wins, we grow. And despite this, workers have been getting cut out of the deal for too long a time. From 1948, after the war, to 1979, productivity in America increased by more than 100%, while the pay for American workers grew by nearly 100%. And then along came 1979 and everything began to change. Productivity in the country has grown almost 4 times faster than pay since 1979. That means the workers have been given much more to their employers' bottom lines than they've gotten back in their paychecks, breaking the basic bargain of this country. The bargain was if you work hard and you contribute to the welfare of the outfit you work with, you got to share in the benefits. Well, that stopped for a long time. So you can carve out your piece of the middle class and make it a possibility. That's what got taken away for a lot of people. Instead, some people started seeing the stock market and corporate profits and executive pay as the only measure for economic growth. By the way, the stock market's gone up exponentially since I've been president. You haven't heard me say a word about it. I'm glad it's gone up, no problem. But look, let me tell you something. My measure of economic success is how families like mine growing up, working families, busting their neck, how they're doing, whether they have a little breathing room, whether they have a job that delivers some dignity, a paycheck they can support a family on. In an economy, the economy my administration is building, instead of workers competing with each other for the jobs that are scarce, everybody's mad at me because now, guess what? Employers are competing to attract workers, having to raise pay. No, I'm serious, think about it. That kind of competition in the market helps workers earn higher wages. It also gives them the power to demand dignity and respect in the workplace. Simply put, worker power is essential to building our economy back better than before. It's just that basic. To counter corporate power, to grow the economy from the bottom up and the middle out. I'm so tired of trickle down. I ask, when has the middle class done better that the wealthy haven't done incredibly well? I can't think of a time that when the middle class is booming and moving, everybody does well. And to give workers even more power, I also signed an executive order to improve competition in the economy, including calling for a ban on non-compete agreements that deny workers the right to change the job in the same field, even when there's no real reason for a company to stop them. It's all about suppressing wages. That's what it was about. In Congress, When Congress passed the 1935 Labor Relations Act, it didn't just say you can have unions, should be allowed. That's how it's kind of viewed for a long time. It said that we, the government, should encourage unions and collective bargaining, making it easier. That's what it said. And I believe that every worker should have a free and fair choice to join a union. The law guarantees that choice. That belongs to workers, not to their employers or to special interests. That's why I signed an executive order creating the White House Task Force on Worker Organizing and Employment to facilitate that choice whenever and wherever we can. Look, I want to thank Vice President Harris and Secretary Walsh-Marty for leading that task force. That's why I want to see Congress pass the PRO Act and send it to my desk immediately. That's why I want us to extend organizing and collective bargaining rights to state and local government employees, like transit workers, first responders, healthcare workers, and other essential workers. And guess what? The public seems to agree with that as well. Government should never be a barrier to workers organizing. It's government's job to remove those barriers. But it's up to workers to make the choice whether to organize or not, whether to form a union or not. And we need to help them understand why that can be the right choice for them. We know the economic reasons. Union members get higher wages, better benefits like health insurance and paid leave, protection against discrimination and harassment, and safer and healthier workplace. But there's another reason, a basic American reason. Workers who join unions gain power. Power over the decisions and the decision makers that affect their lives. Workers' voices are heard and heeded. In a simple